have gotten too aggressive, and there's more in the survey.
The latest shock poll finds 52% support the president's handling of the border, but he's underwater on other topics, including his handling of Venezuela and Iran, but also inflation, with more than two-thirds saying they do not think the president spends enough time on high prices and the economy overall. 30% think the economy is good or fair. More than half think the U.S. is worse off now than it was a year ago, including more than 70% of independence polls. 55% for the U.S. is in a worse position in the world than it was a year ago. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
In another Trump Truth Social post this morning, the president again called for substantially lower interest rates, again critical of Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome. The Fed decided against a rate cut after 3 reductions last year. The president wrote Powell's hurting the economy and national security. Powell, in addition, announcing the change, said,
while job gains have remained low, the unemployment rate has shown some signs of stabilization, and inflation remains somewhat elevated.
We just got an unemployment update. First-time claims dipped slightly last week to 209,000, but the number of people continuing to collect jobless benefits declined much more, by 40,000 down to 1.82 million. On Wall Street, stock futures are up slightly. This is good news. Americans are living longer than ever.
New numbers from the National Center for Health Statistics at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention show that U.S. life expectancy rose to 79 years in 2024. They say the increase in years is due to the waning of the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as decreasing death rates from the country's top killers. Heart disease remains the leading cause of death, and deaths from unintentional injuries, which includes drug overdoses, fell the most. The new stats note that the decline is across all racial and ethnic groups, and in both women and men.
That's Tanya J. Powers. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
1490 WHBB Selma.
This is Viewpoint, a presentation of the News and Public Affairs Department of AM 1490 WHBB. We welcome your input on the issues of the day. You can contact us on the Viewpoint line by calling 875-1490. The opinions expressed by our callers and guests do not necessarily reflect those of the management and staff of AM 1490 WHBB. And now, here's today's Viewpoint.
And good morning and welcome into the Thursday morning Viewpoint for this Thursday morning, January 29th, 2026. Randy Williams with you until 9. How do you feel this morning? Certainly hope your morning is going well. And what we're going to do during Viewpoint this morning is see if I can pull up that press conference that Tom Homan gave in Minneapolis. I'm hopeful that they are going to stick to a deal where the problem has been the lack of cooperation because of the sanctuary city status, of course, complicates things. And so from the news, the news reports are saying that many of the convicted felons from other countries that are in the United States illegally, who have been arrested in local jails and local communities, what they were doing was they were releasing them back on the street instead of turning them over to ICE. Well, now that's changing. They're going to start, instead of letting them out of jail, creating a scenario where ICE has to go looking for them, they will turn them over to ICE. So that's going to take a big dent out of the confusion that we're seeing unfold, the mass confusion that is happening in Minnesota. Let's take this break, and I'll be right back after these messages.
We're with Barry Parker and our friends at Reliable Chevrolet and GMC in Selma, serving the area for 80 years. And it's a brand new year, Barry.
That's right, George. It's hard to believe that 2026 is here. but we're ready to kick it off and get it started. So we invite you to come down and see us. You're in the market for a new Chevrolet or GMC. We have got the inventory from trucks, from your small trucks all the way up to the heavy duty. Same thing with your SUVs, whatever you're looking for when it comes to a new Chevrolet or GMC. We invite you to come by and see us.
Of course, when you're talking about new Chevrolets and new GMCs, you've got to be talking about everything from the Trax to the Equinox, right?
That is correct, and all the way up to the Yukons and Tahoes, Suburbans, Yukon XLs. Folks, whatever you're looking for when it comes to a new Chevrolet or GMC, we invite you to come by and see us.
Barry, when you're talking about reliable, you're talking about great service with just about any name brand that needs service. You can do it all except for warranty work on the non-GM brands, right?
That's right. Warranty or recalls we can do on non-GM product, but everything else from oil change, tire rotation, new tires, brake batteries, belt hoses, transmission, engine, whatever you're driving, we want to do your service work right here. And George, don't forget about the free oil change when you get to that fifth oil change. We want to get to know you and your family. We want you to become part of the Reliable family here at Reliable Chevrolet GMC, located in downtown Selma, 14 Florence Street. Stop by and see us or give us a call at 872-2337 or check us out on our website at reliablegmc.com.
1490 WHBB. Good morning on this Thursday morning. And, there's been a lot of interest locally also in what's happening in Minneapolis and Minnesota. And there have been several references to Selma nationally, as most will point out that what's happening in Minneapolis is not a Selma moment. It is not a nonviolent protest, and that's clear to see. It didn't take a rocket scientist to figure out, when you start throwing objects at anyone, whether it be law enforcement or citizens, that is not an act of nonviolence. And so these forces appear to be trained agitators in many cases, and some of them, according to news sources, are paid agitators. And so let's see. But now President Trump has sent Mr. Holman, the czar, the border czar, to Minnesota to try and bring some law and order, some peace, restore some order. And it sounds like they're making a deal. Before we go into the press conference, let's take this call. Viewpoint, you're on air.
Randy, you're talking about getting rid of the 60 million, and keep your eyes open, because much of the miseducation of Christian has been
You mean Christy? Are you talking about Ms. Nome? Yeah, you're breaking up. Your phone must not be acting right.
Talking about prosecuting these girls we're training in our neighborhoods. We got the names so they can go after those families. But those girls that are trained in our neighborhoods, we know. They're out there now being the ice people. We're talking about doing the massive training that, go back and prosecute them every year for massive people who.
Okay, I can barely understand what you're saying. You're going to have to call back a little later. Let's go ahead and start this press conference and see what Mr. Holman had to say a little while ago when that was done. This is Tom Holman, the border czar. Let's get his side of the story and see what he says, as opposed to some of these other narratives that are putting words in his mouth. But now let's hear what he has to say out of his own mouth.
Just make sure I don't miss anything. So I'm going to be reading a little bit, and then we're going to open up for questions. I've been on the ground less than 3 full days. I got in there Monday. President of the United States called me Monday morning and asked me to deploy here. Got here Monday evening, and I'm staying for the promised land. But we've made a lot of progress in the last few days. Michael Charles, he's running West Operations here. Rodney Scott, Commissioner, running the South Operations. Good morning, I'm Tom Holman on the Board of Architects. I'm here on behalf of the President, along with U.S. Commissioners, the Commissioner of U.S. Customs and Border Protection, Rodney Scott, and Marco Charles, who's leading the Viewpoint operation. I've been on the ground since Monday to gain law and order in the city of Lebanon and work together to remove threats from Iran. During the past administration, you all remember, more than 10 million illegal aliens entered this nation. More than 1 million security clearance public safety. We currently have over 2 million non-resident aliens. 2 million people who paid money to get in the way. Wow, that should scare the hell out of everybody. President Trump promised American people, including the residents of Minnesota, that he would work to ensure that our communities are safe. And with that, this administration is absolutely focused on identifying removal aliens that pose a public safety threat and national security threat. And the numbers prove it. The data proves it. In the past few days, I have met with Governor Walz, Attorney General Ellison, Mayor Fry, numerous police chiefs, and sheriffs, and I have more to meet. I'll also be continuing a dialogue with business and religious leaders in partnership in Minnesota, their community leaders. I'll be meeting with them too, because I want to hear what they have to say. In my meetings with folks so far, Jeff Portman, the governor, and the AG, the Mayor Fry, we didn't agree on everything. I would like to agree on everything. I've heard many people want to know why we're talking to people who they don't consider friends to administration. Bottom line is you can't fix problems if you don't have discussion. I didn't come to Minnesota for photo ops or headlines or any intrigue. I came here to seek solutions, and that's what we're going to do. And we've come a long way, and we got some good wins for the people of Minnesota, I feel, and for the administration and for the safety and security of the city. One thing we did agree on, though, everybody was that community safety is paramount. One thing we all agreed on was U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement is legitimate law enforcement agency that has a duty to enforce the laws enacted by Congress to keep the community safe. Like I've said many times for the last several years, even before this administration, jurisdictions that refuse to cooperate with federal immigration controls are sanctuary for criminals. Sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals, and endangers the residents of the community. To be clear, we did not agree with Minnesota's current local officials that they would be involved in immigration enforcement. I didn't ask them to be immigration officers. I'm asking them to be cops working with cops to help the state trim the managers on the street. What we did agree upon is not to release public safety that's back in the community, and it could be locked up and put on us. I will highlight that the Minnesota State Prison System under the Department of Corrections have been honoring us to thank them. And we appreciate their important collaboration, and we're going to expand upon that. That decision has made Minnesota safer, not only for residents of Minnesota, but the men and women in law enforcement. Not just us, all law enforcement. Rather than arresting the same public safety threat, significant public safety threat over and over again, they agreed to work with us to identify these people and remove them. I'm also pleased to announce I had a very good meeting with Attorney General Ellison, and he has clarified for me that county jails may notify us of the release dates of criminal public safety risks for us to take custody upon their release from the jail. And let me tell you why that's important. I know people are concerned about the manpower being sent in law enforcement manpower. Look, I've said this many times before, I've said it for the last several years. Give us access to the illegal alien public safety jail and the safety and security of the jail. It's common sense. It's safer for the community, it's safer for the agent, and it's safer for the alien. Because anything can happen on the street. It just makes common sense. And for the people that argue, well, we're welcoming the community, we want victims and witnesses of crime that are here illegally to feel safe to come to police without fear to work with ICE. We're not going to talk to the victim and witness of crime. There's no problem with that. They should feel safe to come to police and ask for help. All we want is to talk to the person that local and state law enforcement authorities locked in a jail cell. They chose to lock this person up. That's who we want to talk to, the public safety authority. So that argument is that protects victim witness of crime. Like, it's crap. Victims and witnesses of crime don't want the bad guy back in their neighborhood either. So great progress with the Attorney General and local sheriff. And one thing, when we have these agreements, it takes less law enforcement agents to do the job. One agent can arrest one bad guy in the safety and security of the jail where he's behind the wall. We know he doesn't have weapons. But when you normally release that public safety threat, illegal alien back in the community, we have a job to do. We're going to arrest him. We're going to find him. And what happens is now we got to arrest somebody on his turf who has access to who knows where. Now we got to send the whole team. Cover the back door, cover the front door, officer safety unit. Then because of the hateful rhetoric and the attacks on ICE officers, now we got to send a security team behind it. So what could have been done with one person in safety and security jail, now we've got 15, 16 people out there. I know that causes stress in the community. So if you get these agreements in place, it means less agents on the street. More agents in the jail, and less agents in the street. This is common sense cooperation that allows for drawdown on the number of people you have. Yes, I said it. Drawdown on the number of people. Because we have the efficiency and safety of the jail. Matter of fact, I have staff at CDP and from ICE working on it. What does that look like based on the public we have? In my meetings with Governor Walsh, A.G. Ellison, and Mayor Fry, as well as state and local law enforcement, again, I appreciate they all acknowledge that we do have federal immigration laws in this country. We haven't passed the Congress, and the Congress has been passed a legitimate law enforcement agency charged with enforcing laws. We're not making this up. ICE is enforcing laws and not the Congress. We're federal statute. That said, I'm not here because of the federal government has carried this mission out quickly. Everything I said to senior staff when I walked in, I do not want to hear that everything has been done has been perfect. Nothing's ever perfect. Everything has been proven. And what we've been working on is making this operation safer, more efficient, by the day. The mission is going to come true. because of the changes we're making internally. No agency or organization is perfect. President Trump and I, along with others in the administration, have recognized that certain improvements could and should be made. That's exactly what I'm doing here. As such, in meetings I've had with federal law enforcement managers, including agencies and independent partners, as well as state and local officials, I have conveyed the President's expectations in regard to federal immigration policy. We will conduct targeted enforcement operations. Targeted. What we've done for decades. We'll hit the streets. We know exactly who we're looking for. Good idea where we may find them. We have a lot of history. We have the immigration history. A lot of information about these folks that may not be in the databases out there. Targeted, strategic enforcement operations. That's traditionally been the case, and that's where we're going. That's where we're going to continue to do and improve upon that. With a prioritization on public safety calls. I want to be clear. I don't read a lot of social media. I don't read a lot of media. I don't believe half what I see. We are not surrendering the President's mission on immigration. Let's make that clear. Prioritization of criminal aliens doesn't mean that we forget about anybody else. That's just simply ridiculous. When you have a criminal standing here and non-criminal trying to look back, I want to make it clear. Our CBP officers are performing their duties in challenging environments under tremendous circumstances. If they don't, they'll be gone. Like many other federal agencies, we are targeted down. They are sworn law enforcement officers working tirelessly to enforce our country's border security and immigration laws, protecting the interests of our country and preventing those from walking the streets of this nation and harming our country. Men and women, I was a homeless man. I was one of those people. My first household was for about 3 years to $100. These men and women are President Trump's representation. They put themselves on the line for this nation every day. I want you to remember, they don't hang their head. They don't hang their heart out hoping they're going to work away. They're mothers and fathers too. They're sons and daughters too. And if they've seen a fraction of the tragedies I've seen in my career, I take a lot of blame for that. The things they've seen, especially on the border with grown families. Women being raped by criminal cartels, getting CPR for being thrown on the border by cartels because Border Patrol came too close. So that's where the baby in the river, that where the Border Patrol concentrated on that side of the border. These men and women see some terrible things. But I want you to remember, they're mothers and fathers too. Many of them are members of the community. God bless every one of them. The hostile rhetoric and dangerous threats and hate must stop. And we all agree to that. All everybody admit, hey, we got to stop the rhetoric, the hateful rhetoric that has caused an increase in assaults. That has caused, because of that, having some security teams out with arrest teams, which surge the city with additional resources because of the rhetoric, because of the threats, because of the assault. Again, with the agreements we've achieved and following through the agreements, with the rhetoric dropping down, that allows us to pull more agents out once we feel the environment's safe. I beg for the last 2 months on TV for the rhetoric to stop. I said in March that the rhetoric wouldn't stop. It was going to be long term. And it has. I wish I wasn't wrong. I want to see people die. Officers, members of the community, are not the targets of our operation. For the people out there that don't like what ICE is doing, if you want certain laws reformed, then take it up with Congress. Again, ICE is making it simple. They're enforcing laws enacted by Congress and signed by the president. The same laws have been on the books for the last 6 presidents I worked with. I started with President Reagan, and ended with President Trump. Every administration can enforce the same laws. If you don't like what ICE is doing, instead of protesting this building, go protest Congress. Tell me you won't change it. You have your First Amendment right to assert your opinion. You have your right to protest. I'm just asking to keep it simple. A threatening a law enforcement officer, engaging in beating, obstruction, or assault is never okay, and there'd be zero tolerance. If you interfere, impede, assault ICE officers, you will be arrested. Like I said a bit earlier in meetings with Governor Walker today, as well as state and local officials, I appreciate their acknowledgments that public safety should be paramount. The chiefs I talked to committed to responding to 911 calls when protesters turn violent, agents are in a dangerous situation, and there's assaults. They're committed to upholding public safety and responding to the needs, not to enforce immigration laws. With that, I call upon those officials to stand shoulder to shoulder with us to tone down the dangerous rhetoric and condemn all unlawful action against law enforcement in this community. There are many ways to voice your voice can be heard, express your feelings, and affect change in our country across America. Political and other disagreements in this realm should not be at the expense of public safety or the safety of federal law enforcement around the country. In closing, I want to thank the state and local officials here in Minnesota that I met with and the many I'm going to meet with. We've had meaningful dialogue. And look, again, we didn't agree on everything, but we agreed on the things I just talked about. There's much more we can do. And I'm going to continue this dialogue. I got many more community leaders to talk to. I got many more shares to make. President Trump wants this fixed. And I'm going to fix it with your help. I want to thank President Trump for his unwavering commitment to public safety and prosperity of every American. Under the President's leadership, we have the most secure border in the history of this nation, which means less women are being raped, less children are dying crossing that border, less fentanyl is getting in this country to kill Americans, less non-suspected terrorists are crossing our country, and we don't have too many unknown godliness we don't see help. A secure border means we have stronger national security. A secure border saves lives. When 96% less people come in, how many women aren't being sexually assaulted every year in the cartel? How many people aren't dying making that journey? How many Americans aren't dying of fentanyl overdoses? How many women and children aren't being sex trafficked in this nation? The data proves it. Anybody can find that data. So God bless this great nation. God bless Minnesota. We can do better. And I thank the local and state leaders meeting with me. We made some significant gains, significant coordination and cooperation, and you're going to see some massive changes occurring here in this city.
Okay, and that was Mr. Tom Holman, excuse me, the border czar with the Department of Homeland Security, and it sounds like he's taking a common sense approach to say, let's talk, and as you heard him say, he believes in the First Amendment, and he believes in the right to protest peacefully. One of the reasons why Dr. King and his movement was so effective was because of the nonviolent strategies that were incorporated. Much of it borrowed too from Mahatma Gandhi of India. And so a lot of people don't. When I hear all these different conversations, it is I wonder if they understand the history of many of these protests, the violent protests that have taken place. We don't, I used to reference a few other events that have taken place, but I don't have to go that far back. We can look to Iran and see the thousands of people that they have murdered in an attempt to keep them quiet and not express their dissatisfaction with the direction that their government is going in. This is what some of us say that we want. Some of us are saying, well, Iran is not bad. It's the United States and Israel. It's not the Islamic, extreme Islamic regime. Well, we see what they do, right? So we better think twice. Be careful what you ask for. You may get it. Let's take this break, and then I'll come to the phone line in just a minute.
And a big round of applause for Lauren Adams, customer service representative, and for Chase Uzi, voted best insurance agent. We want to take a moment to say something very important. Thank you. Thank you to our loyal customers who continue to trust us with your insurance needs year after year. Your confidence means everything to us. I'm Owen Peak. At Peak Insurance, we're proud to be the only locally owned independent insurance agency in Dallas County. From helping you choose the right coverage to standing by your side if you ever have a claim. We represent many great insurance companies, but we work for you. We're also honored to be the exclusive representative of All Owners Insurance in Dallas County, along with many other top-rated carriers. So once again, from all of us here at Peak Insurance, thank you for your loyalty and thank you for your confidence. Stop by and see us at 1003 Broad Street in Selma. Call today or visit peakinsurance.com. Peak coverage, peak service, Peak Insurance.
If you hit a deer and need repair, call Hughes Body Shop, 334-875-4470. Located 7 miles out Summerville Road. Your deer damage vehicle repair specialist. Hughes Body Shop.
1490 WHBB Viewpoint, you're on the air.
Good morning, young man.
Yes, sir. How are you this morning?
Better than how about you?
Doing fine. Doing fine. What's on your mind?
I just came in, I heard what the protocol said. Everything's right. If you want to get out there and protect these illegals and act like a dang young fool, hey, if you get hurt, you get shot, that is on you. If nobody else is stopping yours. The only one that has got any dang on common sense wanting to stay in the heck at home and stay out of the way and let the law enforcement go ahead and do their job. Wow, these people go ahead and still backing these folks. I mean, it's clear that they don't care about the American people. Not at all. And yet they want the American people to pay the bills. Why are these people being so damn just a dang bunch of idiots? That's something I can't understand. There must be something back in the air.
Well, no, you've said it before. It's career politicians who are using this as a political football, and the way I read it is they're hoping to get brownie points with the midterm elections that's coming up. It's all about politics, and then here we are again on this potential government shutdown. The last time the excuse was health care. Now it's the Border Patrol. Now it's ICE. So it's always something, and like you said, what about the people? At what point do many of these elected officials show that they care about the people? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they. I don't. They. Well, action speaks louder than words, and I know a lot of us want to buy into these narratives, but at the end of the day, action speaks louder than words, and
How many people back around Selma, they still blaming Trump. But I said, well, let me refresh your memory about something. I said, these people have been coming across the border ever since Father's been president, Nixon was president, even way back when Johnson was president, even before then. And you can hear Obama, Clinton, Bush, and all the rest of them idiots and nationwide speeches that if you come across the border illegally, you need to be sent back. And the only one back here, all I want back here was just talk. All talk and no action. Now they get a guy in there back here that's doing action, and now they're getting paid about it. Is there something I mentioned? What they're talking about is strictly stupidity on a part by heck of the American voter. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You get to give up one by head to make the other one back successful. And all these idiots, I'm gonna call them idiots, they can get mad and fast and get mad by if they want to. They're sending good money and the kids to college. Kids are selling by head get on TV by and act like a bunch of idiots. What is that? I mean, hey, if they got so much money by it to send their kids 4 years of college, they're like a bunch of idiots. They got enough money by here to support these things on folks by in their own houses and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't understand that.
Yeah, I hear you. I tell you, it's a food for thought. It's something to really make me go, I don't know. But then again, I do. It's they have their own agenda, and it doesn't appear that their agenda really matches up with the best interests of the country. And so,
let me say one more thing for you. These folks always raising hell about the police and everything. Then when somebody by breaking in the house, raping the kids, or shooting somebody, who's the person on the call? You call the cops. Well, I mean, if you didn't want to have nothing to do with it, ain't gonna cops and nothing like that, and you get all keyed up because you done something stupid out there on the road, and the cop by head pulls you over, you get mad about it. No wonder police officers got an attitude when they pull somebody over. Everybody by head done gone stupider than what you usually do. They just run a wild land, and I'm here to tell you that it's starting to get scary as hell.
Yeah.
And if folks ask me why I carry a gun, there's a sign.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for calling. 874-334-875-1490 and 1490. Two of the numbers to call if you have comments or questions. I think for me, two things stood out for me from Mr. Holman in his comments. The first was that he had mentioned, and I remember as far back as March of last year, he said, if you continue this kind of hateful rhetoric, eventually there'll be bloodshed. Eventually, you know, the environment will get to the point of where the end result will be bloodshed. And now here we are, you know, and I guess from March until September, it was brewing. And then September, in October and November, it just escalated. And so that was one thing that caught my ear. And the other thing was, he said, and it should scare the hell out of us, that approximately at least 2 million convicted criminals from other countries are in the United States illegally. That is a documented fact. Now that's 2 million out of the 10 million. Now, so there are 8 million people here that may not be convicted. I said may, that all of them are convicted criminals, probably not. Some of them are probably just trying to find a better way to live. And some of them have brought, through the cartels, have brought their passage into the United States illegally. But again, I don't hear anybody interviewing legal and people that have come into the country illegally and who have gone through the process and granted United States citizenship. Where are the interviews with them? You know, it's just food for thought. Viewpoint, you're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Right. Well, they're picking them up too, right?
What was that?
They're picking up illegals too.
They're picking up illegals or legals?
Illegals coming in there. They're going to the courthouse and starting those people in their immigration hearings. So how is that within the law? Well, I can slip in with excuses about this, that, and all other. But you said you're a student of history and this and that and all other. I mean, you should send the hearing to what went on in the 50s and the 60s and everything else. And people were trying to fight for the right.
They were fighting for citizenship rights, not for illegal immigrants.
Wait a minute. Most of the people that they are picking up, and I have to look at the record, most of the people that they are picking up are going through the asylum process.
Says who? Where are you getting your information from? Is it social media or where are you getting your information from?
From DHS itself. You go look it up, you can see it.
We just heard the head of the border czar, the head man. We just heard him say that he has sat down and he's in conversation, in talks with local law enforcement, and has pleaded with them so that they don't have to go through what they've been going through, to release people that the local law enforcement has arrested. Instead of letting them put them back out on the street, turn them over to ICE. And they have agreed, according to what he just said.
The thing about it is this. He lied in the beginning and said that Minnesota State was not cooperating with him. Minnesota State couldn't incorporate with him for the last 20 years. If they get anybody in there,
that's not what he said.
No, that's the truth, Randy.
That is not what he said.
No, like Mayor Pryor from Minneapolis, do not have in jail. Those people go to the county, so why are they harassing people in Minneapolis? They would never get there.
So you're telling me? So wait a minute, hold on. Let me get this straight. So what you're saying is they should, if local law enforcement, if your local jails, if your sheriff department and police department, hold on, let me finish. If they have arrested somebody that they know is illegally in the country, that already has been convicted of some felony, that instead of turning them over to ICE, put them back out on the street. You're saying that makes sense?
Oh, well, actually, turn them over. That's my conviction with that, the counties, what they're doing. But what I'm saying is, he's in the city harassing people, but there's no jail out there. What are they doing with trying to turn those people over?
Have you been to Minneapolis? Have you been to Minneapolis? I don't know that there's not a jail. I doubt that there's not a jail in a city that big, my friend. I guarantee you there's some jails in Minneapolis.
There's not a jail there.
The one that not anymore, but it just recent. That's a recent development. The last maybe the last 10 years, but there was always a jail in Selma until about 10 years or so ago. There's a jail in Montgomery. There's a jail in Birmingham. There's a jail in Bessemer. What are you talking about? Well, I'd have to look into that. I would be surprised that a city that big doesn't have a jail in the city. That don't make sense.
Let me ask you one question. Not to mention 500,000 people there. They have 600 police officers. Now, you can put 3,000 ICE agents into that city, and you're mad because you don't have enough police officers to go on a ride with you when you got 50 people just going out in the streets and just harassing them.
I don't recall them asking the police to ride with them. What I've heard them say is just to help maintain a law and order. These are not peaceful protesters, friend. What is peaceful about these protesters?
Randy, if you got 3,000 ICE agents and border patrol in a city that only have 600 police officers, how can they assist all of those people?
Well, wait a minute. Who are you policing? Are you policing ICE? Or are you policing unruly protesters, violent Which one are you? Who are you talking about policing? They didn't ask the police to ride along. You're hearing something different from what I'm hearing. That's absolutely right. We're looking at something altogether different. Look, I'm wasting my time with you on this conversation because I already know where you're coming from. I'm wasting my time. I just thank God that that Mr. Holman has sat down with local law enforcement and they're at least talking about how they can, and the local people have already agreed in theory that they're going to start turning them over while they're in jail instead of turning them back out on the street where it can become a situation that turns into death or a potential riot. That's called law. That's common sense. What's the question? I don't think that's what's happening. That's your interpretation. No, if they have a warrant and you're giving me a straw man, so I'm not even going to answer that. That's a straw man question. Got to get ready to take a break. Let me let you make your closing remark.
That is not the way country runs, Randy. It is not. And if you, I don't see how y'all can sit there and Christians and politicians and this man and all over and see all of this crap going on, this racist stuff. Instead of being saying, well, it's all right. You ain't brought in Jesus, you brought in Trump.
What took you so long to mention Trump? Thank you for calling. All I can do is shake my head. Let's take this last break, and I'll be back with more after these messages.
Woman's life is a journey, and every journey is unique. No matter where life takes you, you deserve compassionate health care every step of the way. Vaughn OBGYN Associates will meet your unique health needs at each stage of your life. Time for your first mammogram, ready to start a family, or need postmenopausal care? Come see the Women's Health Team at Vaughn OBGYN Associates for services close to home. New patients welcome. Most insurance plans accepted, including Medicaid. Be well, live well. That's why we're here.
It's a big world out there, fast-paced and full of challenges. The last thing you need when you have a vehicle accident is more hassle on top of hassle. Wouldn't it be great if you could just go sit down and talk to Mom and Pop? Well, you can. Mom and Pop are alive and well at Auto Beauty Body Shop in Selma. Aaron and Cindy Grimes have owned and operated Auto Beauty Shop for a good while now, and they extend their caring family approach to their customers. Certainly, they have the latest multi-tech equipment and highly trained technicians, and they have an excellent relationship with all the insurance providers. But they have
That's something no other body shop has. They have Aaron and Cindy, the mom and pop of vehicle body repair. A simple approach to discussing the damage, the estimate, and the factory quality repairs. Please drive safe, but if you have an accident, ask your tow truck driver to take your vehicle to Mom and Pop, Alden Beauty Body Shop, 2001 Highway 14 East. Phone 334-872-2248. And start your repairs right away.
Meadows Tire and Automotive is a local family-owned company that takes pride in taking care of your tire and automotive service needs. Whether it's your car, truck, camper, RV, trailer, or more, we've got you covered. See us first at 2897 Citizens Parkway in Selma. For better service, quality, selection, and more, we've got them. Come see them. Our deals you won't believe them. Meadows Tire and Automotive, where service matters most. Call or text us at 334-875-7276.
1490 WHBB. The last caller mentioned President Trump, and he also mentioned Christianity and Jesus. Well, interesting enough, President Trump was in Iowa earlier this week, and he was at a restaurant stop, and a patron asked if he could pray for him ahead of the president's remarks near Des Moines. The video shared on X by White House aide Margot Martin shows the moment unfolding inside the Machine Shed restaurant, where a man from the crowd addressed the president directly and said, "Can I pray for you real quick?" And President Trump replied, "Absolutely, come on." And he bowed his head as the man began to pray. The brief prayer thanked God for the president and asked for wisdom, discernment, peace, and protection, as others in the restaurant joined in. Quoting, it says, "Lord God, we give thanks for this president," the man said during the prayer. "Lord, thank you for him and the potential. Thank you for continuing wisdom. We pray for discernment, pray for hope. We pray for more peace, Lord." The prayer from the restaurant patron drew several amens from the surrounding crowd. The unscripted moment occurred as President Trump made a stop at the Iowa restaurant before heading to deliver a speech in Des Moines in the area to kick off his 2026 midterm campaign. Now, I know for people who just simply don't like anything that President Trump does, it's not going to make a difference what is said or what he does. But I distinctly remember that after the first attempt on his life, and some people say that didn't even happen, even though we're looking right at it, right? It didn't happen. And then we forgot the man was killed. One of the members in the crowd was killed, shot dead with the bullet that missed the president. But I noticed that after that, he acknowledged his belief in God, and he publicly expressed his desire to please the Lord. You can't ask for any more than that. The other thing is, when we elected a president, we didn't elect a pope or a priest. We elected a president. There's a difference. And I always remember the scripture where when Jesus was asked about, the government, he said, "Look at whose image is that on this coin?" And of course, the answer was Caesar at the time. He said, "Give Caesar what's due Caesar. Let the government be the government and give God what's God." Some of us don't even want to do that. Some of us can't even wrap our heads or hearts around doing the right thing, And so I'm mindful of that. And at the end of the day, hateful rhetoric, that's what broke SNCC and SCLC up in the 60s. SNCC wanted to go more into an aggressive style of trying to make change happen with violence and with military resistance. SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, that's what SNCC stands for. SCLC, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, said, no, we are going with the nonviolent method. And that's where they split. And so SCLC went on to help sign into law the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And I think SNCC is still waiting to claim a victory on some legislation. It hasn't happened yet. That's the difference. And so, and one other thing, you know, the first Bloody Sunday was in Russia in the early 1900s, where they massacred dozens of people. That's why it was called Bloody Sunday. You know, the Russian government at the time that was trying to control the population. The second Bloody Sunday was in Ireland, London, dozens of people killed there. Same thing, trying to create change. You know, and they were peaceful protesters. Selma, of course, we had our Bloody Sunday. Fortunately, no one was killed, but it was bloody. Huh? And if you want to know about these governments, all we have to do again is well, look at Russia. Today's Russian government trying to take over Ukraine, and look at the thousands of people that are dying every month, every day. Iran has murdered thousands of their citizens that are not happy with the way their government, their Islamic extremist government is running. China, remember Tiananmen Square in 1989, 1990, and the tank that was getting ready to run over the Chinese student. So I'm just saying, Viewpoint, you're on the air. I'm not, you don't dominate this thing. I'm not talking to you, okay? I'm talking to the rest of the audience. If you got an opinion, state your opinion and hang up. This is Viewpoint. This is not my point or your point. This is called Viewpoint. I gotta let you go, brother. It's time to go. We're getting ready to get out of here. Stay tuned for Fox News coming up next on the top of the hour on 1490 WHBB. Selma, is the sun out? No, it's raining and it's 90 degrees. Huh? Just listen to it is what I say it is, not what it is. You have yourself a safe and enjoyable day. See you tomorrow morning. The good Lord willing, it's 9 o'clock.